people don't play football. They don't even get to be, chosen as the first 11. But these people, still continue with the list. Many of us, we are familiar with some of those names. They died while on the field of play. Obviously, they may feel that there was nothing wrong with them, or apparently there was something wrong with them and it wasn't detected until they died. So this is just telling us that age, is not a reason for people not to have cardiac diseases and to die. And cardiac diseases are no respecter of age, so we need to take care of ourselves. So I took this from Punch newspaper, where a seasoned professor of pathology was reported to have died of cardiac arrest. So also telling us that cardiac diseases are no respecter of status or your profession. And also, there was a very senior cardiologist too that also died of cardiac arrests, and still telling us that cardiac diseases and diseases generally are no respecter of status or your profession or your age. Also, there's this article that I got from Sunday Tribune of the 3rd of July, 2011, in which it was reported that a man aged between 55 and 60 died in an hotel in Aremo area of Ibadan, where it was reported that he was having sex with his 40-year-old lover. Of course, the man was, he felt that it was fine. He felt that it was okay, because I don't think sick people go to hotels and book rooms to plan for sex and take pepper soup and drink. But this man died while in the hotel. So it's just telling us that cardiac diseases are no respecter of your profession. Also, we lost a professor of obstetrics and gynecology that was also found in his office in one of the foremost universities in Nigeria. He died on November 5th, 2015. So just telling us that we need to take care of ourselves. It is not only to say that I think I am okay. You don't think that you are okay, because many of these diseases don't show symptoms until they are very late. We are familiar with this story. The son of a prominent Lagos politician also died of cardiac arrest in London. Up till that morning, they felt that it was fine. And one of the greatest or the worst thing that can happen to any father is to pass comment after his son, leaves us. And in the words of his father, he said that it is at that point that he felt that he had a whole lot of life to live. That's when it was taken away. So we need to take care of ourselves. We need to take care of our heart. We need to take care of our body to run our business. So at this point, I will just quickly, mention how the heart looks like. It's a muscular organ. It has 4 chambers. It's roughly the size of one's fist. And the heart of males are slightly larger than that of females. But I think females are actually braver than men. So it's not the size of the heart. It is what you have in you. And it pumps about 60 to 100 times per minute. It starts beating at the 3rd week of intrauterine life. So that means by the time a child is born, the heart is about 8 months older. So if you are 40 years old, your heart is approaching 41. So you need to take care of that heart very well. So this is just a picture showing, the heart. And at this point, let me just talk about cardiovascular disease generally. Like we all know, cardio means that vascular means vessels. So cardiovascular diseases are diseases of the heart and the blood vessel. And it ranges from disease of the blood vessels that supply the heart, blood vessels that move blood away from the heart, the disease of the rhythm of the heart, and sometimes it affects people even right from the day that they are born, and those ones we call them congenital heart diseases, and the ones that we acquire as we get older are the ones that we call acquired heart diseases. And there are many, ranging from heart attack, heart failure, strokes, angina, chest pain. But the good thing about most of these diseases of the heart is that they are majorly preventable. And by the time we live a healthy lifestyle, all these diseases will not come. So they are really preventable. And that is why we have to keep talking about this so that we can live a healthy lifestyle. Cardiovascular diseases are non-communicable. They are just diseases that we get as a result of poor and unhealthy lifestyle that we live. And they affect, they cause about 17 million deaths globally per year. And that is a third of the global mortality that we record. And hypertension alone is responsible for about 45% of deaths due to heart disease, and is responsible for 52% of deaths due to stroke. So hypertension is a big deal that we really need to talk about. So what are the risk factors for these cardiovascular diseases? So we usually divide them into modifiable and non-modifiable. Of course, the non-modifiable ones, there's nothing you can do about them. Everybody wants to get old, so advancing age is a risk factor for cardiovascular disease. If there's a family history of cardiovascular disease, also a risk factor. Male tend to have more cardiovascular diseases compared to female. However, this risk usually equilibrates by the time females attain menopause. And of course, there's nothing we can do about our ethnicity or our race. Black race have more predisposition to having cardiovascular disease than whites. But the ones that we really need to talk about today are the ones that we can modify. And these include the deadly triad of hypertension, diabetes mellitus, and dyslipidemia. Dyslipidemia meaning abnormal cholesterol. And of course, other ones that include tobacco use in any form, whether e-cigarettes, first-hand smoking, second-hand smoking, or even third-hand smoking. When we are physically inactive, obesity is a big risk factor for cardiovascular diseases. Unhealthy diets, I'll still mention some of them. Excessive use of alcohol, psychosocial stress, especially some of us that will stay in Lagos, drug abuse, even prescription drugs that you don't use the way you are supposed to use them, or illicit drugs. These days that, many people are involved in the use of tramadol, et cetera, et cetera. So these modifiable risk factors are the ones that we really need to talk about and try and change. So this is, a whole lot of us are familiar with these bottles. When you consume them in excessive amounts, then, we are bringing in cardiovascular disease to ourselves. So this is a picture showing cigarettes, whether e-cigarettes or the real cigarette that is smoking. They are terrible, they are vasculotoxic. They destroy the vessels and make them hardened and now cause cardiovascular diseases. And this is exactly how not to live our life. We'll see this is a whole lot of, unhealthy lifestyle put together into one. Taking a whole lot of fizzy drinks, eating indiscriminately, taking like 5 or 6 eggs per day in somebody who is ab initio obese. In those days, they used to tell us that the size of your wife is used to measure how rich a man is. But now, the size of a wife is seen to be how much cardiovascular disease that wife has. So it is not healthy to be obese in any form. So talking about obesity, how do we assess our obesity? So it's a simple thing that we can actually do in our different homes. We just need a calculator. So all we just need to do is to put our weight in kilograms, then you divide it by the square of your height. So that means weight divided by height times height. So that's what we use to measure our body mass index to check whether we are obese or not. So a normal body mass index should be less than 25. So if your body mass index is between 25 to 29.9, you are overweight. And when you are overweight, you have a mild, risk factors to having comorbidities. And obesity is when your BMI is more than 30. If it's between 30 and 34.9, 34.9, sorry, I meant to write 34.9. That's you have moderate risk. If you have grade 2 obesity, your BMI is between 35 and 39.9, you have severe risk. And when your BMI is more than 40, you have grade 3 or morbid obesity, and that is very severe risk of cardiovascular disease. So the women are a little bit more protected, especially if a woman and a man, if they have the same BMI. But you will now notice that where we usually pack our own fats, is different from where the women pack their own fat. So if you have a waist-hip ratio and your tummy is actually bigger than your waist, then you are in trouble. In those days, they used to say that an elderly man that doesn't have pot belly, that is stingy. But these days, an elderly man that has pot belly has a whole lot of cardiovascular, diseases and its risk. So we need to work on our tummy men, and this is a better, form. So that means if a man and a woman have the same BMI, really need to know where they are packing their fats. So what are the complications that comes with obesity? Psychological trauma. Many of us, when we get fat, start thinking that, oh, how do I share this weight? A whole lot of issues and all that. Then when your weight is now too much for your hips and your knee, then there will be problems. You start having osteoarthritis. And that's a vicious cycle. Because by the time you have osteoarthritis of your knee and you're obese, you will not be able to exercise. And exercise is one of the healthy things that we need to do to shed weight and reduce cardiovascular disease. So we shouldn't allow our obesity to get to the point that it starts affecting our knees and our hips. And of course, there are other things that would happen, varicose vein, arthritis, hernia. Okay, so obese people are prone to accidents. And in these days that we have a whole lot of insecurity on our hand, the healthier you are, the better it is. So that in case you want to run, you'll be able to get to safety as soon as possible. And of course, there are so many obese people that by the time they are sleeping, it will be as if there's a locomotive engine in the room. So that's what we call obstructive sleep apnea, and is a risk factor for having cardiovascular disease. And of course, finally,
Dr. Ajibare, it is well with you. Go on.
Let's talk about hypertension. So this is a very big problem in sub-Saharan Africa. As of 1980, it was estimated that about 600 million people have high blood pressure. This figure rose to about 1 billion people in 2008 and is expected to rise to as much as 1.5 billion people in 2025. Unfortunately, the highest prevalence of hypertension is in sub-Saharan Africa. So we are the one that have poor leadership, we are the one that have a whole lot of problems, and we still have non-communicable disease and communicable disease as a problem. And unfortunately, the high-income countries, they have lower prevalence of hypertension compared to us in developed world. So there is big, big problem on our hand. So what are the symptoms of hypertension? Many times they don't have symptoms, so they are usually asymptomatic. By the time you start having symptoms, when you have elevated blood pressure, then complications are started setting in. So how do you know that you're hypertensive? You check your blood pressure. So if you don't check, you cannot say that you don't have. I don't have a headache is not that I don't have high blood pressure. So you discover that some people, when we do routine screening, you check their blood pressure and you wonder why they are still moving around and the blood pressure is in the roof. So this is just to emphasize that the only way to be sure that you are healthy is to check yourself. If you are not checking yourself, you don't know. And by the time we have all these, you run around, you want to make your business grow, you want to leave Iyana-Ipaja to move to Lekki, you want to do a whole lot of things, 24 hours in a day is not enough. We need to check ourselves so that we don't just fall dead by the side. So other symptoms that can come up include headaches, insomnia, meaning, loss of sleep. You try and sleep at night, you discover that the sleep is not coming. Palpitation, meaning awareness or beating of the heartbeat. Because when your heart beats, you should not know. By the time you start feeling that you are aware of your heartbeat, then there's a problem. Blood vision, chest pain, you get tired easily. What you could do before, you are now having difficulty doing, then you need to check yourself. And by the time leg swelling start coming in, you are peeing, the pee is now becoming frothy, then you know that there's a problem. So what is normal blood pressure? A normal blood pressure should be less than, there are two values with blood pressure. We have the systolic and the diastolic blood pressure. The systolic should be less than 120 and diastolic should be less than 80 millimeters of mercury. Now, there's this stage that we call pre-hypertension. It is not hypertension, but it is pre-hypertension. When your systolic blood pressure is between 120 to 139, or your diastolic is between 80 to 89, then hypertension is knocking by the door. So at that stage, lifestyle changes, which I will still talk about, is very, very compulsory. And by the time your blood pressure hits 140, that's a systolic or the diastolic of 90, then apart from lifestyle changes, you also have to start taking medication. So what are the complications of high blood pressure? It could affect the brain, causing strokes, causing hypertensive encephalopathy, causing a whole lot of issues, big names for big diseases. And it can affect the eyes, in which the patient may not be able to see very well. It can affect the heart can fail. There could be heart attack, which is called myocardial infarction in medical parlance. Then the kidneys can also fail. And hypertension has been shown now to be a leading cause of kidney disease, worldwide. These days, we see that somebody comes in, he needs dialysis, another person comes in, they need kidney transplant and all those. So hypertension is a leading cause of all this. So how do we treat hypertension? We have the non-pharmacological ways, which are the lifestyle changes. Then we have the pharmacological ways, which are the drugs. And of course, sometimes you could have surgical means of treating hypertension. But I'm not going to bore you with the pharmacological and the surgical ways, because that is left for us to do. But I would stress the lifestyle changes. These are the non-pharmacological ways of managing hypertension. So what are these ways? One is weight reduction. So we need to keep our body mass index, like I said earlier, to less than 25 kilograms per meter squared. And it's been shown that if you reduce your weight by about 10 kg only, your blood pressure can come down as much as 20 millimeters of mercury. So you can imagine, if somebody has a systolic blood pressure of 150 and he loses 10 kg, that blood pressure can actually come down to about 130. And at that time, we may actually start considering that we need to start weaning the patient off medication. So the other thing is what we eat, which the first thing that we need to talk about is DASH diet, which is a short form for dietary approach to stopping hypertension. That's diet. That's DASH diet. And what does it mean? It means that we eat plenty of fruits, a whole lot of vegetables, and food that are low in fat content. And this has been shown to reduce blood pressure as much as 14 millimeters of mercury. So we reduce the amount of salt that we put in our food. So adding salt on the table has been a bad habit that everybody should shy away from. So reduce your dietary intake of sodium, of salt, and this also reduce blood pressure. Then we need to be physically active. Minimum of 30 minutes of exercise for at least, per day for at least 5 days in a week has been shown to prolong life. And we need to limit the amount of alcohol that we take. And this would, make all those cardiovascular diseases go away. So how do we prevent cardiovascular disease generally? So there are the primordial prevention, primary prevention, secondary prevention, and tertiary prevention. So primordial meaning for everybody, whether you have a risk factor, those risk factors that I talked about earlier, whether you have risk factors or you don't have, you should, adopt all those lifestyle changes that we've talked about. So we teach our children how not to gain weight, how not to add salt on the table, how to run away from cigarettes, how to not to start drinking alcohol, all those things, avoid obesity. So even people that don't have risk factors, we are trying to prevent them from even having risk factors, talk less of coming down with the diseases. So that is primordial prevention. Why primary prevention are those that have the risk factors, you are obese, you have family history of hypertension, then you should adopt all those preventive lifestyle changes. That is primary prevention. Why secondary prevention means that people that already have the diseases, but you don't want them to have complications. So those are ways in which you can prevent them from having complications. And tertiary prevention meaning they have the diseases, they already have complications, but since having one complication doesn't immunize against having another complication, somebody having stroke doesn't mean that it can't come down with kidney disease as a result of hypertension. So we do tertiary prevention for all these people. So I know that we have a whole lot of guest participants that cut across all walks of life. So we have to talk about what are the roles of everybody when it comes to prevention of cardiovascular diseases. So government should first and foremost make security very, 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 very important. They should hold it very important and make everybody secure. I have a whole lot of patients that say that they cannot do any form of exercise outside their houses because of fear of being kidnapped. So apart from government making walkways and basic amenities available for exercise and recreation, they should make our country safe so that people will be able to, exercise as need be. It's not everybody that can afford treadmill in their houses. It's not everybody that can afford bicycle. Bicycle ergometer in their houses. Some have bicycles that they want to ride outside. So the fear of being kidnapped will make people to run away from the street. So these are what we want from the government. They should improve and equip our hospitals and emergency services. They should improve on health insurance so that it cuts across all Nigerians, because sometimes it brings tears to our eyes when you see patients coming and there's nothing you'll be able to do for them because they don't have money, they don't have insurance. So we need government to do this, for us. Apart from writing that cigarette smokers are liable to die young, we should also legislate against it. And of course, we need more health practitioners, the ones that are staying back, we need to keep them behind so that we all don't run away from the country. So of course, we know that we health practitioners too, we have our own bits to do. We need to continually educate the populace on needs for checkups, on needs to take care of themselves, on needs, to take their medications for those that are on medications and all. Then yes, we need to have more patient-friendly policies because a whole lot of people don't even want to come to the hospital because they are afraid that we won't, take care of them very well. So we also would have to do that on our own part. Then what of the patients? What are their own responsibilities? They need to do regular checkups, especially when you are above 50 years. Of course, checkups should start from any age, depending on, how healthy you are. Then we need to adopt healthy lifestyle. Some of the things that we have said, we have to eat right, we have to live right. It's not everything that we eat, like that woman I showed in that picture earlier. So for some of us that we're on medications, we need to be compliant with our medications. Then before our children start having all these risk factors and diseases, we need to teach them how to, live a healthy lifestyle. Because by the time we get into adulthood, it's usually very difficult to change the ways we live our life. Now I would hone down on need for us to screen ourselves periodically. Because most illnesses usually start small and they don't show symptoms. We need to check ourselves. As we get older, our body grows and it grows and we get old. So as our age increases, we get old, so we need to check ourselves. And if somebody check himself right now, if it detects an abnormality early, it gives us time to be able to address those abnormalities before they now become full-blown. And some people have normal body variation. Some people will do an ECG, some people will do a test, and you now discover that, maybe there's an abnormality here. But sometimes it may be the normal variation of that individual. So we get to know that early. So it's not when the man is now sick that you now get confused whether it was a normal body variation, is an abnormality. So that's some of the reasons why we need to do this. Then early institution of preventative measures, and it also help other family members in case some of the diseases that are familiar. Sometimes you can pick a disease in a family member and you say that, this disease has an autosomal dominant trait in which most people in the family may have it. So you can now do health screening for those, and that has helped a whole lot of people from sudden cardiac death. So how often do we need to check ourselves? So the simple answer is that as need be. So we need to check ourselves. If you are under the age of 30, it is recommended that you do it every 2 years. If you are between 30 and 50, you should do a yearly health screening, and that is highly recommended. For people that are more than 50 years of age, you need to do age-related screening tests. And that's what your doctors will tell you as you come to meet us. And this is what I mean. So if someone now has prostate symptoms, like Pastor Adesanya said earlier, you need to check that person's prostate and you dedicate around that side of the body alongside other things that you're going to check. And this would help us to monitor, will help us to, in our treatments, and it also help us to follow up the patient. So some patients will come to the hospital, we give them 6 months follow-up period. And some will come and will tell them that we want to see you in another 1 week. So it is what we discover that will now make us to check, you and see you as often as need be. So what are the examples of these checks? It's as simple as blood pressure. Blood pressure is something that you can walk into most of the hospitals and you ask them to check it for you. And people would not know, like I said, elevated blood pressure or hypertension is usually asymptomatic, doesn't have symptoms. So it is when you check it that you discover it, and a whole lot of deaths and complications have been averted by just simple blood pressure check. Other things like complete blood count, cholesterol check, diabetes screening, heart screening, you check your kidneys, prostate. For ladies, we do mammos and pap smear, liver function test, and screening for cancers. So what are the excuses that I've seen in my little period of practice? Well, people will tell you that, why do I need to check now? I'm not sick. Why do I need to check? But like I said, by the time you start feeling sick, then that means complications around the corner. And those examples that I mentioned at the beginning of the presentations, they were not sick. They were sick, but they did not feel sick as at the time, all those calamities happened to them. Some people will tell you that they don't have money. And the question I usually ask them is that, how much money do you need? They say, we don't know. So how will you say that you don't have money when you don't even know how much to check the screen? I know some pharmacy store that check blood pressure for free. Some collect as low as 50 naira to check blood pressure. So this should not be an excuse in the real sense of it. So some people tell you that it's too expensive, but they are tailor-made diagnostic tests that could be done for people depending on how large or how deep your pockets are. Diagnostic centers are very far away from me. I cannot get there. Those are some of the excuses that we see. Some people tell you that I'm too busy. 24 hours is not enough for me in a day, but they now forget that the moment they drop dead, the time that Samuel Okparaji dropped dead on the field of play, he was substituted. When Mark Vivian Foe died on the field of play, another person came in to replace him. So we can't give that excuse that I am too busy. And some people, what they will say is that, what I don't know will not kill me. It's better for me not to know. I don't think there's anybody that has died that knew what killed him. People, the person will go first. It is people that are alive that will realize what killed that person. So we should not have this kind of attitude to this. Let's check ourselves. Let's see if we have anything and let's treat early. So what are the ways forward? We need to be more health conscious. We need to have good policies, especially in companies. I know there are so many HR people, human resource personnel that are here. We need to have company policies. We need to have workplace policies. We need to have good health and prevention policies. We need to put treadmills. We need to put a whole lot of things in our places. When people finish their work, maybe around 5, 6, and they are waiting to go home to avoid traffic, especially for some of us that are in Lagos, let people exercise. Put table tennis board there. Let people sweat. Let people do, 1 or 2 exercises, and do a policy that will make your employees to have time to be able to go and do their health screening and health check. So they are tailor-made wellness screening. We have some partners that would actually come to office places and check people when they are too busy to go out to do all those things. So home and office health checks. Like Pastor Adesanya said, I had to come to his house to look, after him when he felt that he was too busy. So those are the kind of things that we can do, for each other and make, things better. So HMOs, health insurance scheme, community health insurance scheme, even family members, which should be our brothers keepers. Religious houses should put all these things there and let people benefit from some of these things. NGOs should rise up because there are so many people that are poor in this country that really they cannot afford some of these things. So we need to rise up and be our brothers keepers. And high-tech diagnostic centers are readily available, and many of us, offer around the clock services. So in conclusion, I want to beg us all that we should please take care of ourselves, and everybody have people that are important around him. That see him as a very important person. So we need to keep ourselves alive, even if not for ourselves, for the people that depend on us. And the state of the country now is in a way that you have a whole lot more dependence than we used to have like 10 years ago. So people now ask you for things now that they don't even ask, like a few years ago. So we need to take care of ourselves because we are very, very, very important to a whole lot of people. But we should also put it at the back of our mind that we'll be replaced immediately. We become unproductive in many of these workplaces that you are saying that you are too busy for. Or by the time you die, they're going to send somebody from head office to take over, audit what you have done, and life goes on without you. And we should put it at the back of our mind that we should not build a business whose funds will be used to fund our illness. So that by the time you are building your business, you have to make sure that that business will outlive you. And it is not when you now get sick that the business money or the funds or the capital of that business will be used to take care of your illness. And finally, cardiovascular diseases are preventable, and they are preventable with healthy lifestyle. And we should not say that we are too busy, we can't find time to relax. We should find time to relax, take vacation, enjoy ourselves, and live healthy. Thank you very much for having me. I will leave us with this picture that says that when we were young, we had a whole lot of time, we had a whole lot of energy, and we look forward to that time that we have money. In adulthood, we had money, we keep chasing money, we have plenty of energy, we are using that energy to chase money, and we don't have time to even take care of ourselves. And we should remember that by the time we get old, there will be too much time on our hand. We will definitely have this money that we are chasing now, but the energy will not be there. So we should not compound it by now adding illnesses to lack of energy. Thank you very much for having me.
Wow. 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 Ajibare, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Guys, we need to go to the chat room and say thank you to Doctor. You did so well. What a nice teaching for me to hear. Just about the time I'm about to clock 50, and then you are coming up with this. You are telling me how to do my test every month. You need to explain that to me anyways. That sounds a bit scary, How can I be doing it every month? So get ready. That will be my first question to you. But please, let's go there and say thank you to him. So you can check that right now. Check the chat room. You check in the chat room. You can see people telling you thank you. Just to let you know the impact you have made in this short time. Wow. Someone said it's not just medical lectures, but actually philosophical. Thumbs up.
That actually came from Adedayo Ajibare.
And who is that?
My middle younger brother.
Okay. Very supportive brother. Thank you for supporting brother. Anyway, now, Emmanuel, I don't know whether you're there. If Emmanuel is there, please help us spotlight him. so we can take it on to the next level. Someone said I was engrossed in the presentation. I was too, until you started talking about 50, and then you need to talk about that. Yeah. Kodake Komaderu about 50, right? Well, when after you spoke right now, I was excited about this 50, but somehow, I'm still excited, but I will need you to talk about this. So, if you have a question for Doctor, please go raise your hands. Use the icon and raise your hands. Once you raise your hands, we will unmute you once your video is on. Please go there because we need to ask him a whole lot of questions. I can see hands being raised right now. Let me just figure out what this is. Okay. If we could see your video on, Kenny, you need to check out. You need to take this chat off my screen here, Kenny. Good. If it's video, or it should be our video right now. Rukayat is on. Spotlight her, and then let us unmute her.
Good evening, Rukayat. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good evening, Pastor Emmanuel. Good evening, Pastor Nee. Thank you very much, sir. And awesome Dr. Ajibare, thank you very much. You gave us sharp, and we all had great points to take note of. Here's my question, sir. How do you handle when they tell you that high blood pressure does not go, that once you're on medication, you have to keep up with the medication? So do you have to take this drug for the rest of your life? That's one. And two, what about ABAL? Does it ever cure ABAL treatment for high blood pressure? Does it ever cure it? Those are my two questions, sir.
Okay, I think I'll just take all the questions together. Then we can.
Well, we don't have any other.
Can I ask some questions, sir?
Okay, Emmanuel, you want to ask a question? Go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. Sir, when you mentioned underweight, you said it's below 18.5. Does underweight pose any risk to the heart? Because there was a craze about cholesterol in the heart, but around that time, a lot of people that died around cholesterol were very slim people. So I wanted to find out, does underweight pose any heart risk? And also, you mentioned complications associated with obesity, like back strain. When you say back strain, is there a difference between back strain and back pain? Because sitting positions also affects the back, so that we don't trigger alarms. And I usually have a massage once every month, and when I do that, every pain in my body just goes away. And then when I sit again before a month, some kinds of pains comes back. So is there back pain and back strain, are they the same, so that we know if there's a difference and if there's something to look out for? And when you are on level 1 obesity, moderate obesity, my life insurance increased my premium during COVID by 200 Rand, and said because I'm on level 1 obesity. So what's the risk? Is it something that I should do something drastic about? Thank you.
Okay, so let me just start taking the questions because of time. So let me start with Pastor D. Additional's question that after 50, you need to do checkups every month. No, I didn't say that. So what I said is that once you are 50, once you are above 50, you need to do yearly medical checkup. However, as age increases, the risk of having diseases increase. So if we pick anything in anybody above 50, just like in anybody above, at any age, you need to do a more frequent checkup depending on that comorbidities that individual have. So it's not a blanket statement that once you are 50, I have 60-year-old, I have people like you that are approaching 50 and they are very healthy. So those kind of things, you are not, I mean, we won't tell you to be doing medicals on a monthly basis. So it's going to be on yearly basis like has been recommended. So if you now pick anything abnormal, then you now need to sort it out as frequently as possible, depending on what the problem is. Then somebody wrote in the chat room that I exercise almost every day. Can I still go for a checkup? Yes, the answer is yes. Because like I said, Samuel Okparaji up to that morning was exercising. He would not have been in the first 11 if he was not very fit as at the time of training a night before. So, and I don't think there is anybody that exercises as much as all those footballers that I said that had sudden cardiac death. So you still need to go for your checkup because most of these diseases don't give symptoms in their early stages and they are better picked early. So yes, high blood pressure. So once we make diagnosis, because it's not an easy thing to make a diagnosis of high blood pressure, and this is what I mean. So if you come to my clinic now and I see your blood pressure is above 140 or 90, first time check, I'm not going to label you hypertensive. So what we're going to do is that, okay, fine, do lifestyle changes. I don't know what you went through. Maybe you were in traffic of 3 hours before getting to me. Maybe you didn't rest well, you didn't sleep well overnight, you had troubles at night and all that. So yes, we will tell you to go back home, check your blood pressure. Sometimes we even use home blood pressure check. We tell you, check it in the ambience of your home. When you wake up in the morning, you are fine and all that. Then by the time you are making that diagnosis of high blood pressure and we are starting your medications, then you should prepare your mind to take the drugs for the rest of your life. However, we have some rare occasions that at the end of the day, we may have to wean those kind of patients off the medication, but they are rare, but it happens. So by the time we give you that diagnosis and we start your medications, you should be prepared to take your medications for the rest of your life. And it is not really a bad news, and you are not alone in this. More than 40% of adult Lagosians are hypertensive. So we should just try to reduce that number so that we don't have comorbidities. About treatment for high blood pressure, I'm not aware, but what I know is that about treatments, most of them don't have dosages, and herbs have been shown to even contribute to cardiovascular diseases by affecting the kidneys and knocking it out. So that is my answer for about treatment. And there's this question about underweight, that does it connotes poor prognostic indices for heart diseases. Okay, so cholesterol and weight, they are not mutually related. And this is what I mean. So you have skinny people having abnormal cholesterol. We have cases of familial hypercholesterolemia. People that have a whole lot of cholesterol in their blood, regardless of what their weight is. And that's some of the things I was trying to say, that if we pick abnormal cholesterol in some people, it may mean that we may tell the person that, okay, fine, all your family members should also go for tests. Let us see whether this thing runs in the family. So weight and cholesterol, they don't have, it's not like they have hand-in-hand relationship. So you could actually be obese and have normal cholesterol, and you could be slim and have abnormal cholesterol. And what's the underweight thing? What it connotes, most people that are underweight, they are malnourished, so to say. So, and by the time you are malnourished, you are not having enough diet, you don't have enough nutrients in your system. So this could also cause some other problems that may not really be heart related, but related to other organs of the body. So cholesterol has nothing to do. That's some of the excuses that we also get, that, oh, I'm slim, I'm fit, I'm fine. Why do I need to go and waste money and do tests? Even people that are fatter than me, they are living a healthy life. So I think I've gone through. Okay, yes, then the final one is obesity. That they said you had grade 1 obesity and they increase your premium. So like I showed in my slide, by the time you are obese, by the time you are getting to overweight, your cardiovascular disease risk is actually increasing. And obesity itself is just like income and expenditure. So what do I mean by that? So income is what you eat. expenditure is your exercise. So if you have more income than what you spend, you will have excess. So if you are eating more than what you are burning, you'll be obese. And if you are doing more exercise, that means you have more expenditure than your income, you would lose weight. So the balance in weight loss program is a balance between what you take in and how you burn it. And I think at this point, I have to say that it is not all obese people that eat more than slim people. But the problem is that all obese people eat more than what their body needs. So by the time you are obese, that means you are taking in more than what you are burning. Then there's a problem. So you have excess, you accumulate fat in your body. So how do we lose weight? Reduce what you are taking in and increase your energy, your expenditure, then you will lose weight. Thank you very much.
You know, for me, what you just said now is the best thing I've heard today, because at a point I went to the doctor to check what was wrong with me. Because when you said that not all obese people eat so much, that they just eat more than what their body needs. Because I was telling my wife that life is quite unfair. I know very slim people that eat so much. I only eat twice a day. And even when I fast, you don't see the weight loss on my body. And I was wondering if I had a serious problem. Well, thank you for responding in that direction. Somebody's asking a question. Can we ask other questions not related to cardiovascular issues? And the second question is, can we have a list of screening tests for women over 40 years? That's some suggestions. And someone is asking, it is often said that these medications have some side effects. How true is this? And what are the possible side effects of these medications? When is the best time to check the BP? Is it in the morning, before food? When exactly is the best time?
Okay, so those questions came back to back, so I didn't get some of them, but let me just respond to the ones I got. Then after then, we can ask the other one. Okay, so best time to check blood pressure. So the best time to check blood pressure is after you've had a good rest. That's the best time. So what it means is that that's the time that you're going to get the lowest of your blood pressure. And the body physiology is made in a way that as you wake up in the morning, the blood pressure also rises. So the best time to check the blood pressure is early in the morning when you are waking up. But when we give patients assignment to keep a blood pressure diary, what the guideline says is that you check it twice a day. So that will be first thing in the morning, last thing at night, and you check it for a week. So we have 14 readings. Then with those 14 readings, we'll be able to make up our mind on what is wrong with you. Unlike the one-off reading that you come into my office and I check your blood pressure, I don't know what you've gone through when you came in and all that. So home blood pressure measurement is also been advocated to be used to assess blood pressure. So first thing in the morning, last thing at night. So medications have side effects. Of course, they do. All medications have side effects. Paracetamol have side effects. Everything has side effects. But what a doctor would do is to balance the risk of the medications and the benefit of the medication. So that's what we call the risk-benefit ratio. So we would, balance these medications and try and make it tailor-made for you. For example, if I have a long-distance driver, it's not likely that in his choice of antihypertensive, I will give him diuretics. Diuretics meaning a drug that will make you to pee. Or if I have a pastor that stays on the podium or a motivational speaker that stays on the podium for a long time talking, it's not likely that I'm going to give that kind of person a diuretic, a drug that is going to make him to be peeing all the time. So those are some of the things that we could get from those medications. Those medications could range from making you to pee excessively, headaches, leg swelling, a whole lot of things. But we usually weigh the risk before we give it to you. And there are so many patients that are on this medication and they've been on it for a very long time and they are doing well with it. So when we look at the risk of the blood pressure going up and leading to stroke or kidney disease and all that, what we do is that would weigh the risk and the benefit and let you. So I didn't get the first question. I was going to write it, but
yeah.
Okay, that can we ask non-medical questions?
Yeah, no, not a non-cardiological question.
Oh yes, we can. I mean, with the ambit of time that we have, then I think at this point I am seeing a whole lot of Ajibaris on the program. So let me just thank them for coming to support their brothers, all the Ajibaris in the house. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate you.
Salute to all the Ajibaris. We're so happy to have you here tonight. So guys, you've just gotten a leverage to ask questions outside cardiovascular questions. So please, if you have them, please bring them on now. The session is very, very enlightening. I like the way that the consultant has been able to just talk about cardiovascular issues without instilling fear in people. I don't know how you were able to do that, but that's something that I picked up, and I really want to appreciate you for that. Thank you for that. That wisdom.
Thank you, Emmanuel.
I really appreciate it.
I think I have a question on malaria. How do you prevent malaria from happening? So very simple. Avoid mosquito bites. Just try and avoid mosquito bites. Once mosquito bites you, it's going to give you Plasmodium, then you're going to come down with malaria. So what can one do to lower cholesterol? Okay, so you eat right, take plenty of fruits, vegetables. That's part of the DASH diet that we talked about. Oily food, you avoid them as much as possible. Red meat, avoid. The yolk of eggs is very rich in cholesterol. Try and avoid it as much as possible. Yes, there's another question on eggs and cholesterol. Yeah. So the outer covering, that's the white part of the egg, has plenty of protein, while the inside part has plenty of cholesterol. So you can eat the outer parts and avoid the inner parts. So the ones that we have eaten since we're young till now is enough. Emmanuel, so stop shaking your head. You've had enough eggs. Okay. Sorry, I don't know if there is any other question there. Okay, cholesterol. I think I saw a question on hepatitis B, but I can't scroll up to look at it.
Yes, he said, what is the difference between having hepatitis B and being a carrier of hepatitis B? What's the difference between having it and being a carrier?
Oh, okay. So the hepatitis B generally is spread from blood-to-blood contacts. So you share needles, you share blades, you have sexual intercourse with somebody that has hepatitis B. So that's how to get it. But hepatitis B, many times, especially if it's contacted in adult life, the body can actually fight it and eliminate it. However, when you are hepatitis B surface antigen positive, it has different spectrum. They have different spectrum. Some people can have it and just be a carrier. They are positive. Their liver, the virus is not destroying their liver. So they can just abort the virus. But the problem with that is that most of them will have to see a physician to decide whether they qualify for treatment or not. Because there are other things that would, beyond having hepatitis B surface antigen, there are other things that we look out for, which would include your infectivity rates, how your liver enzymes are, the state and architecture of your liver, amongst other things. So if you are hepatitis B surface antigen positive, my best advice for you is to see a physician who will order more tests and see whether you qualify for treatment or not. And many times, most of these patients will actually qualify for treatment and they can be treated. One, to reduce the effects of the virus on their liver, to reduce their infectivity, because they can actually infect others. Like I said, if you share sharps, when you have sexual intercourse with your partner, then you could actually come down with hepatitis B. So my advice, once you are positive, go see a physician.
Sorry, we didn't hear you. Once you're positive, do what?
You need to see a physician.
Okay, that's great. Somebody is asking what are the causes of high blood pressure. I thought you had mentioned that when you said some are controllable, some are not controllable.
Yeah, modifiable and non-modifiable risk factors.
Yes.
So stress, living in Lagos, unhealthy food, those are risk factors. No, it's true. I mean, studies have shown that people that live in rural areas have lower prevalence of hypertension than people that live in urban regions. So air pollution, cigarette smoking, alcohol, sedentary lifestyle, obesity, those are the risk factors for hypertension.
Okay, thank you so much. And somebody said, good work. Please, what can cholesterol real cause in the body? What I think the person is trying to say, what can it really cause in the body? Does it lead to heart pains?
Okay, so what cholesterol would do is that it starts depositing inside the blood vessels. So the blood vessel is supposed to it's supposed to allow blood to flow in a laminar flow. I mean, the blood should just move without any form of obstruction. So what cholesterol will do is that it's going to start depositing inside those blood vessels until eventually it blocks those blood vessels. And depending on the blood vessel that it blocks, that's what it will cause. So if it blocks the blood vessel in the brain, it will cause stroke. If you block the blood vessels in the heart, it's going to cause heart attack, so on and so forth. So that is why when you have high cholesterol, you need to treat it both pharmacologically and with a healthy lifestyle, because it's going to cause obstruction in those blood vessels and make them to be stiff or occluded.
And by the way, somebody said your voice is very soothing. I don't know if that is a compliment or because I know that when I was little, when I was still a kid, I broke my arm, and I went to the hospital and Dr. Machambrella put a POP and drew on it. Every time I go to see him, he would draw on my POP and give me some chewing gum. And he had a very soothing voice. So I always wanted to wound myself so I can go to Dr. Machambrella. So somebody saying you have a soothing voice.
Probably the person was expecting Ajibare to frighten us, and which he didn't frighten us today.
Yeah.
He did a lot of balance to the topic.
Thank you.
And let me also use this opportunity to appreciate the presence of one of my mentors. He's on the platform now, Bayo Lugbemi, the managing director of First Registrar. It's good to have you, sir. We would unmute your mic very soon when we take more questions so that you can say hello to us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bayo.
So, we have more questions. Let's go with that.
Yes, we have more questions. So somebody wants to be clear. Doctor, are you saying we shouldn't eat fried egg?
Difficult question. Okay, so I mean, just like life is, we need to strike a balance. And the truth of the matter is that if you're going to fry eggs, you're going to use oil. And also knowing fully well that there is plenty of cholesterol in the yolk of eggs. So you are taking cholesterol from yolk. You're also taking cholesterol or not, because there are some, I mean, olive oil is fantastic when it comes to frying and all that. So we need to strike a balance. And if at any time your cholesterol is bad, then you have to run away from it. But balance is key.
Okay. Balance is key. Okay, so which means we can cheat once in a while. Okay.
I didn't say that.
Okay, somebody's asking a question. Somebody said, I am below 40 and I have been having unexplainable sensations and pains with my breast. I thought it would go, but it's been 3 weeks now and don't know where to go and what to do, as I can't even explain these feelings. What do you suggest, please?
Okay, so I'm a cardiologist, and cardiologists don't like hearing sensation or anything when it comes to chest area. So what I would suggest is that maybe the breast, I mean, it's there are a whole lot of structures in the chest. It's not only the heart that is there. But as a cardiologist, when I start hearing sensation and all that, I want to make sure that the heart is safe. And I think at this time, I have to say that it's only very few. So if I have 10 patients that come to me with chest pain, maybe it's only 1 or 2 that the chest pain will be related to the heart. But however, it is better to come to the hospital when you have chest pain and the doctor tells you it is not related to your heart, than for you to sit down at home and just feel that it is not related to your heart and it is now the heart. Because the commonest cause of chest pain is not from the heart, but the most catastrophic cause of chest pain is from the heart. So if you're having some funny sensation on your chest, just see a doctor. The nearest, you don't have to see a cardiologist. Let a doctor sort you out. So if you now feel that it is cardiac related, you definitely be referred. So if you have some sensation in your chest related to your breasts or skin or bones or muscles of your chest or even the heart, just see a physician and be sorted out.
Okay, someone is asking for your contacts. How do we contact you after this meeting?
Oh, okay. Well, number one, I think I have to make a disclosure here. The disclosure is that I don't do phone consultation in any form. Yeah, in any form, I don't do phone consultation. So if you're going to call me for anything, then you should be ready to come and see me. Because yeah, I'm a doctor, have a life, and I have a life outside the hospital. So sometimes you'll be shocked that some people will call you at 10 p.m. and tell you that, doctor, please, there's this big bowl of amala in front of me. Oh, can I eat it? And you'll be shocked. And those are the times that I need to do my own personal things as well. So I'm a cardiologist, I'm a lecturer in the university. I have a whole lot of things to do. Yes, and I see patients on private basis as well when I'm not at work. So yes, if you are going to call me, then you should be ready to come see me. So my contact, yes, maybe I should put it on the chat box so that
yes, please do.
You get it.
Please do, sir. Thank you. Somebody's asking, sir, do you want to say something?
Yeah, Emmanuel, you know when you said something about cheating and everything like that, I remember after my last medical checkup, I said that my sugar level was normal. What I did was that they should go and get me ice cream. Since it was normal, let me just get me ice cream. Let me just enjoy my lessons. I think that we still have a lot of questions on the chat.
A lot of questions. You see what he did, what the consultant did was that he stimulated a thought pathway without instilling fear. So people are very open to talk because the heart used to be a very delicate issue before tonight. Somebody's asking if malaria has any connection with genotype AA and O positive.
Okay, sorry, let me just take this question because I feel it's very important. Somebody said I'm over 40 and I do have dizzy spells that make me lose consciousness and I have to hold on something. What can be wrong? A whole lot of things can be wrong. So if you are feeling dizzy, it could be from anywhere. Ranging from low blood level to heart issues, to brain issues, to blood supply to the brain, and a whole lot of something. So you have to see a physician, let them quickly sort it out. So if you are feeling dizzy, it's not good. You can imagine if you feel dizzy and there's not, you don't have anything to hold, you could actually fall and it could be worse. So I think you should see a doctor, let them sort you out quickly. So that's about dizzy spell.
There is a very There's a very humorous question here. Doctor, are you saying that everyone living in Lagos has high blood pressure?
No, I didn't say that.
We'll have it eventually.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. So if you look at that list of risk factors, there are so many risk factors. Like I said, they could be modifiable, non-modifiable. And all these risk factors, they play together to generate cardiovascular diseases. So by the time you have a constellation, stressful lifestyle, alcohol, he smokes cigarettes again, he's now obese, he has family history of hypertension, he's getting old and all that. When you mix everything up, it could generate. So of course it's not everybody living in Lagos that are hypertensive. We still have a whole lot of normotensive individuals. Even targeted researches that has been done, I mean, it varies. The prevalence of hypertension could vary as much as from 30% in urban areas to as much as 55%. So we still have a whole lot of people that are normotensive.
Okay. Someone is asking a question. He's saying, he's saying, what is the risk associated with tummy fat? And I think you've responded to that, but can you just throw a little more light on it?
Oh, okay, so like I said earlier, tummy fat is not good. And the reason why it's not good is that the fats that are deposited under the skin around the tummy, they are highly lipolytic. Lipo means fat. Lytic means breakdown. So they are lipolytic in the sense that they can be called into play and they get broken down quite easily. And when they get broken down quite easily, they enter inside the circulation and they could cause all these problems that we talked about. Unlike the fat around the hips that are majorly stable. So those ones don't usually get broken down easily. So tummy fat is actually worse than fat around the hip. So that means if you see a lady with fat around her hips and you see a guy with fat around his tummy and they have the same body mass index, the guy has more risk compared to the lady.
Yes, it's
so when frying eggs without the yolk help to reduce the risk of high blood pressure. It would help to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, especially if you use good oil. And the eggs without the yolk does not contain a whole lot of cholesterol. So yes, it could help to reduce cardiovascular disease risk. I recently developed a BP of 159/100, but after taking prescribed medication for 3 days with loss of rest and fruit and slight exercise, my BP this morning was 124/87, 129/90. My question, yes, I see this question a whole lot of time. My question is this, fantastic. So I was going to say something about this. So blood pressure is like a car that is on a slope, is going downwards. And of course, it's going to accelerate. So the blood pressure medication is like your leg on the brakes. So by the time you apply your leg on the brake, it holds it. So your blood pressure will come down when you start taking your medication. However, by the time you stop taking your medication, it's like removing your legs from the brakes of the car that is on a slope. So it's going to accelerate again and still going. So, and we don't want that kind of blood pressure. It's, up and down, zigzag kind of blood pressure. Blood pressure is better stable. So 128/90 is still not there. And at this point, I have to say that for blood pressure, the lower it is, the better. So the blood pressure, the lower it is, the better. However, we individualize blood pressure control. There are some people that will tolerate a blood pressure of 100/60. There are people that will tolerate a blood pressure of 90/60. Although normal blood pressure is 90, the systolic is 90 to 140, and the diastolic is between 60 to 90. So blood pressure less than 90/60, we term it as low. Blood pressure more than 140/90, we term it as high. But blood pressure, the lower, the better. So we keep pushing that blood pressure down until you have symptoms of hypertension. So 128/90 is still not there. So I advise you keep taking your medication, keep going back to your physician to titrate your medication, because when we prescribe medication, we don't prescribe it for life. What we do is that although we prepare your mind that you may take it for life, but we'll give you the medication for a particular duration. Take it for 3 months, take it for a month, or take it for 6 months, then come back for review. So when you come back for review, we now decide whether we up titrate your medications or we gradually wean you, off the medication. So that's for that question on blood pressure. So I advise you keep taking your medications.
Okay, great. Thank you, doctor. Someone is saying,
so despite doing away with mosquito, I still treat malaria almost every month. Is it related to genotype AA or whole blood pressure? So studies have shown that people with genotype AA have more malaria, symptoms, but there cannot be malaria without mosquito. It's caused by Plasmodium falciparum or any of the species of Plasmodium. So if you don't have Plasmodium, you don't have malaria. And many times, malaria and typhoid are overrated. So many times people go, they say you do test, they say you have malaria and typhoid. It's many times overrated. So what we need to do, most people have fatigue. They get weak, they've not had rest in a very long time, they've not had vacation in 15 hours, 15 years of work. And of course, the body will start complaining. So you go to the hospital, they see one plot, they say it's malaria. So first answer to your question is that there cannot be malaria without mosquitoes. Then the second one is that you may need rest. Maybe that's what you need. If you are running up and down, you want to quickly get a house in Banana Island, you have to take things easy and relax.
Sir, there's something that the South African government usually spray in the atmosphere with helicopters, and that controls the air and the mosquitoes as well, because there's no malaria in South Africa. So such treatments, is it that the health ministers have not received those kind of advice? Why do you think it's not possible to do in Nigeria?
Okay, so I think we'll have to pass this through Pastor Nia this one. Will help us to escalate it to the appropriate level of government. So that's government policy. So our Pastor Nia this one is very close to people in power. So it will help us to deliver that message to them so that we can do an holistic.
How do you know I'm close?
We know, sir.
There is someone on the platform. There's somebody on the platform before he runs away to another meeting. He's still here. I think he can answer that because he's closer to government than me. I think we just bring up Pastor Bayo Olubemi now. If he can come up to just say hello to us before he leaves.
Bayo Olubemi.
Oh, has he left? Okay, this is it. Talking to the government, don't worry. We'll set up a committee and we'll look into that. Next question.
That is called voicemail. Then the next one is somebody, you've answered the high blood pressure. Doctor, please, I've been experiencing chest pain for some time, and now, which is also affecting my right hand. Chest pain affecting right hand. I have a BP machine with which I check my BP. It's been normal, 120/85. So the BP is normal, but there's a chest pain which is affecting right hand. What do you advise, sir?
Okay, like I said earlier, majority of chest pain are not heart related. Most chest pain. But the only reason why we still advocate that people with chest pain should come to the hospital is that 1 out of 10 or that 2 out of 10 may actually be from the heart and it can be catastrophic. So if you have a pain on your right side of the chest, I think you said hand or something, right? Hand.
Yes, right hand.
Oh, okay. So if you have pain on the right hand, is most likely not cardiac related. But I still think that you should check yourself and let's be 100% sure that it is not there, but it's not likely. It's not likely.
Okay. Somebody
said about 9 years ago when I was pregnant with my baby, I had pregnancy-induced hypertension. After delivery, it disappeared. Does that mean I'm prone to high blood pressure? It's just for that period. So there's something called pregnancy-induced hypertension. It just come around during pregnancy, and that's it. I mean, after pregnancy, once the baby is out, maximum 6 weeks to 6 months after, you don't have it again. So, but what you need to do now is to just do a regular follow-up and check whether it could lead to hypertension in the real sense of it. So, because there are some people that don't even check their blood pressure until they get pregnant. So some people may actually have high blood pressure before pregnancy. They got pregnant, they go to the hospital, they check the blood pressure, and it is elevated. So it is difficult at that time whether the person is hypertensive or it was pregnancy induced. And there are some people that are normotensive before pregnant. Before their pregnancy, they know. But once they get pregnant, around 20 weeks, blood pressure starts going up. Then once they deliver, blood pressure can come down on its own. But we just monitor every other person. So I don't have blood pressure last year. It doesn't mean that blood pressure can develop at any time. Because as you are increasing in age, the heart also is getting older, and you need to check. So just keep checking.
Okay. Somebody's asking which one is more dangerous? Is it the systolic or the diastolic?
Oh, okay. So high blood pressure is either or is it, we say, or/and. So for example, if somebody has a blood pressure of 141/89, that 89 did not cross, but the 141 had crossed that threshold of hypertension. That is hypertension. Or somebody has 138/91. That 91 that's the diastolic. So that one had crossed, but the up one. So that is still hypertension. So whichever way, whether you have diastolic or an isolated systolic hypertension, it is hypertension, and both of them needs to be treated. So what I mean is that if you have 138/92 persistently, you need treatment. If you have 142/88 persistently, you need treatment. Or you have 142/92, you need treatment. So either way, you need to be treated. And beyond the medications that we are taking, I still need to reiterate, lifestyle changes are the way to really control blood pressure. Like I said earlier, there are people that will lose as much as 10 kg and the blood pressure will come crashing down. So you have to start withdrawing your medications one by one, until the person is not on any medication, and it's now fine. And you just keep monitoring the blood pressure, and the blood pressure is persistently low. So lifestyle medication is the key. So let's adopt it and teach our children how to have lifestyle change.
So the lifestyle, when you mentioned lifestyle medication and modifiable factors for what we're discussing tonight, you did not include that vacation and rest is important. I just looked at the list of modifiable. I didn't see the stressing on rest, but I see that you've done it vocally, because an average Nigerian.
So is it my second to the last slide? My second to the last slide is there, and I said that you should rest, have vacation. Sorry, let me just go there.
But it's not the type of vacation PNA does in Dubai that he goes for work.
That's not vacation. He's still working.
Who told you? Can they hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Who told you I went to Dubai for vacation? I went to Dubai to make money. So that's why whenever we go to Dubai, I'm always from Dubai now, cross over to probably another country for the vacation.
Okay.
because you've called me, I think I just need to do this right now. Before we take another question, let me say this: a big thank you to Doctor, because once it's 9 p.m. from our own side here, we'll get off this call so that you guys can continue, because we are in a hotel, and then we have to put a pause on our training. We're having the public speaking and presentation masterclass coaching masterclass. It started yesterday, and we're still in a hotel right now in Lagos, and it's probably, we're not going to finish this training until 12 midnight. So, and then I have a lot of guys. I have a lot of guys behind me that needs to go and have dinner, and I'm sure Ajibari will tell me. I have to cheat this time around. I'll have to go have dinner.
Is it my network? I can barely hear you.
Okay, I said, you may say that this is the wrong time for me to have dinner, but today I'll have to cheat and have dinner tonight. Because we have to shut down because the training continues by 9 p.m. But this is it, guys. In the next 2 weeks, starting from Friday, the celebration for the Nia Adesanya at 58 starts. And this is where I want the support of everybody, mobilizing people to attend the programs. On Friday, we'll be having one for the pastors that will be moderated by Pastor Emmanuel from South Africa. We have the keynote address from the Canon, and then we have 4 of my good friends, Laurie Ledaosa, an American, Leko Adegunwa from Preston, UK, Sam Okodwa from Manchester, UK, and then I have Andrew Bauer from Winnipeg, Winnipeg, Canada, that will be doing justice to the topic on cultural intelligence and agility post-COVID. And especially those of us who have Plan B, we have Plan B in Nigeria now. Sometimes we even have Plan D. You want to run away, you want to go somewhere, not run away. So you need to be there on Friday on the 25th. Zoom meeting, and it's going to be.
We can't hear you, Pastor Nee.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better now. Yes.
Okay, on Friday, 25th, we'll start the celebration with the colloquium for the pastors. So on 7 p.m. On Saturday, we'll have the one for business guys. And what are we discussing on Saturday? How to build a centenary business that can last 50 to 100 years. And that is really a power-packed panel and keynote speaker. We'll have Dr. Christopher Kolade give the keynote address. Professor Patitomi, Dr. Godi Ibru, Mr. Zubike Sikwene, and Mr. Samson David are going to be on the panel. And it's going to be a very robust discussion. This will be 7 p.m. on Saturday. You don't want to miss it. Please invite as many people. If this is the birthday gift you give me, I will so be glad. Invite as many people for these 2 programs. Let them come in. We have room for 500 people, and I want as many people as possible to be here. So please do that. And if you want the flyer to be shared, I think once you join our Telegram group, they will put the flyers there so that you can help us share with your friends and invite them. The purpose of this is to disseminate information, give information that can make people's life better. And you'll notice that about the Nia Adesanya brand right now, it's all about information like we have had today. You can see information from Ajibari, and he did a fantastic job, and that's what we are here to do. So that's Friday and Saturday. So on Sunday, will be on the 27th would be the exact day that I will clock 50. So on Sunday, we'll be having the program. I call it the worship party. And we have themed it, Thanking Jesus for the Cross. And then we have a lineup of fantastic gospel artists. We have Pastor Kunle Ajayi of the Redeemed Christian Church. We have Tokwe Alabi, Victor Atenega. People may not know Victor Atenega, but Victor Atenega was the worship leader for Archbishop Benson Idahosa when he was alive. So Victor Atenega is going to be with us, and also my lovely daughter, let me put it that way, Mercy Chinwo also will be with us. We have Big Bolaji, we have Sheye saxophonist, and then after we've done with all the worship, then we now get into the groove side of life, and then we'll have the band led by Mide, the musician, who will be thrilling us on different kind of tunes, genre, and then we just enjoy ourselves. But interestingly, we can only take few people at the physical meetings. Few people at the physical meetings. So it's going to be strictly by invitation, but this is how you qualify for the invitation. You have to be one of my close friends, not friends, but close friends. So I don't know whether you qualify for that, but if you want to do that, you get an invitation. But nevertheless, it will still be transmitted virtually. All my handle, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And Twitter, if that is possible, you'll get to see everything that is happening on that day, so you won't miss out. The only thing you miss out from is probably the food. You can buy your own food, and then we'll talk about it later. So when we're eating, you're eating and everything, but it's going to be a lovely time. This is the best time for you to pray for us. We just want to be a blessing to the body of Christ and be a blessing to the people around us and friends. So those of us who get the invitation, please make sure you join us, and we have a wonderful time. Come and celebrate God with me. 50 is not, it's a good thing. Well, except what Ajibari nearly did today, and thank God he balanced it up. It was almost becoming scary to be 50, but now I think it's okay to be 50. But it's okay. So you can join us on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Please invite as many people as possible to be part of the colloquium on Friday and Saturday, and especially on Sunday. Join us also as we worship God and we make life better. Next Saturday will be the end of the season for us. Next Saturday will be the end of the season for us when it comes to the Nia Desanya, keeping your business in business. So after Saturday and the colloquium, we'll take a break for a while so that we can rest. Dr. Ajibari said we should rest. So we need to rest for 1 month, and then we'll come back with something more intense and more impactful. You can trust the Nia Desanya brand for that. And also, every Thursday, we have our Instagram Live. So next Thursday will be the last one for this season. So after that, we also take a break to go and re-strategize and come back to see what we can do and make things better for everybody. So I want to say a big thank you for those of us who have joined us so far. Those of us who have been with us ever since, I want to say a big thank you. Thank you for believing in the brand. Thank you for supporting, and thank you for always being there. We have tried so many new things, and then it has really, really worked for us. So many new things. Like the program we're having in the hotel today is new, and that is the highest ticket program in Nigeria so far. Highest ticket. Before I wrote it on my Instagram page and LinkedIn that I have the highest ticket. Now we have raised the bar. We have raised the standard. This is now the highest of the highest ticket event sales. So we're looking for 15 people, and guess what? we got our 15. We got our 15. That's the way God answers your prayer. So please, we won't be going off right now, but Emmanuel will still be here.
Sir,
And then
sir,
myself and Ajibari will take over, and then they will still answer your questions. But
so there are no more
next
questions.
Saturday. Join me on Thursday, Instagram Live. Join me on Saturday next week. And then 2 weeks' time from Friday, please join me as we go on with the colloquium. And then we'll take it on Friday and Saturday. I love you all, but we still have work to do here in the hotel. People pay serious money to be here. So we must make them get the worth of their money. So we'll be going off now from us here in a hotel. And then Emmanuel will take over, Juliet and everybody will take over. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me, but it is not over yet. It is not over yet. Emmanuel, over to you. We will sign out from here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think because we don't have any more questions, if Dr. Ajibari is still here, if he can just give us some good night, some last words from the consultant so that we can say goodbye tonight. Dr. Ajibari, are you still there?
Oh, yes, I'm still here.
Okay. Please,
Okay, so
do you have some last words?
I'll conclude with the last thing I said in my conclusion, which is that we need to take our health very, very seriously. We are really important to a whole lot of people, and we have a whole lot of dependents, and we should live a healthy lifestyle. Most of the cardiovascular diseases are preventable with healthy lifestyle. So this healthy lifestyle would include eating right, good exercise, avoiding, to put on a whole lot of weight, find time to rest, and we should have it at the back of our mind that if anything happens to us, a whole lot of people would actually suffer, but life will go on, and that's just how it is. So we should make sure that we're healthy, strike a balance between health and business, because health itself is even wealth. And yeah, so that when we grow, still have a whole lot of energy.
Sorry, Juliet. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Oh, okay. So when we grow old, we still have a whole lot of energy and we have good health. And we'll be able to live a productive life. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doc. That was amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We really appreciate the simplicity with which you delivered such a complex topic. Somebody said that if a subject is complex, then the teacher needs to go back to school. So you've proven that this is what you do, this is your stuff, and you brought it to the table. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. On behalf of everybody here tonight and PNA, we want to say thank you. Thank you. You're truly, truly amazing. Thank you so much. Guys, can we go to the chat box and say, God bless you. Thank you to Dr. Ajibari and good night. Bemi Plush, thank you for turning on your video. Thank you, Tolu Toro, everyone that turned on their video. Thank you so much for all you do for this group. So good night, everyone. Good night, Dr. Ajibari. Such a pleasure. I'm sure I'll be able to meet you one day, not on cardio issues, just on the...
All right. Thank you, Emmanuel. Good night. And good night, everyone.
Thank you so much. Good night. Good night, everyone. Have a wonderful night rest. God bless you.